And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
They've done it! They've done it! It's Maguire Crew! They've done it against this team!
Grimsby are heading back to the Football League.
Love it.
It's a bit of a baptism of fire. Mike, can you hear me? Is my mic working good?
I can hear you, mate.
Brilliant. Good evening, everybody. This is a bit impromptu and will be more sort of cobbled together than usual. We've got another half an hour or so where we are meant to be watching Town beat the mighty Carlisle, but due to the new levelling up process that we have been given up here in the north, that you are now delighted to have a new paddling pool and also a new slip and slide as well, thanks to our MP. So we should be really grateful, really, that this has happened. Great stuff, Mike. What were your thoughts on that? There was not much I can't really take into it. It could have been a cracking own goal when it hit the roof of the net, but other than that, it was just a bit of a wacky sort of 20 minutes or so, wasn't it?
I mean, I think all you can say is, mate, it was a bit wet. That's about it.
That's what Ollie
I
says.
mean, I will be honest. Back in the day when I was watching like third division Ecuadorian games, you've seen a lot worse than that. But yeah, a bit wet. It's a shame, especially with so many Carlisle fans coming over. But, you know, the sort of writing was on the wall pretty early on. That wasn't going to get any better, was it? So,
well, I mean, we both you and I have come back from France this week to watch this game. And I'll be honest, it's quite nice down here. A bit of rain earlier, but other than that, it's all been pretty nice. So hopefully, if you are listening to this later, I hope you got home safe and sound. It looked like Market Racing took an absolute hammering. So hopefully you guys will be absolutely fine and get back all right. But we want your help tonight because it's only me and Mike. Bruce is still sunning himself in Turkey. All the other guys are getting back from the game and such. So if you want to come on, drop us a DM, drop us a message on here. Come on, even if it's just for a couple of minutes to talk about what your thoughts are of the games. We probably won't count this as a real podcast, and we'll go through sort of Crewe win and Rochdale and a lot until, you know, till people who were there. But
are any of the real podcasts, mate?
Well, you know what I mean. Just to sort of, oh dear. Trail of Debt have just sent me the picture of the worst hamburger they've ever seen, which is quite interesting. But yeah, Ollie says it was nice here until about 6:30, which is quite interesting. It's nice to know at least. But I mean, pretty decent team. Clifton left out. Do you think there's a reason why Clifton was left out of the team?
Probably one or two reasons. Either his legs after a tough game, and we all know that Harry can run all day, but whether you'd want to make him run all day over a couple of games, I don't know. And the fact, for as much as Harry gives you, and I'm a big fan of him, there are more attacking options in the final third. And I said at the weekend, I really want to see that Amos-Glennon partnership down the left a little bit more. So perhaps that's what Hurst's going for, a little bit more of an attacking option down there. As I say, big fan of Harry, but it's either his legs or it's wanting to be a bit more creative in the final third.
Yeah, I probably agree. Where's Ben? Bren wants to know where I've already eaten it, Ben. I'm really sorry, mate. You don't leave me with croissants and stuff. The Epidor van coming around, and pretty easy to get yourself lost in that and a pano raisin. It's been an interesting couple of days. Josh says Clifton doesn't suit the system. Glennon gets some more crosses. I agree. I think Clifton's an interesting one. I really like him, and I think he should be. I think we were talking about it earlier. I think he fits better in a system in the middle. When we're playing a better team that you're wanting to break up play, you're wanting to frustrate them, you're wanting a bit of energy, and you're wanting a bit of sort of ball winning mentality in the middle of the park. I think he's the guy you want in there over potentially Holohan or over Green. But on the left, he isn't a first choice left winger, and I worry that he becomes a bit of a Danny Butterfield really, and sort of gets thrown here, there, and everywhere. and isn't allowed to develop the position he's strongest in, which is, I think, in the centre of the park. We saw glimpses of it last season. I don't think we've seen much of it now. And will that play detriment to not just this season, but to his career in future? And it would be good to get your thoughts on that as well. Who's listening in?
I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I think we said last week I'd be amazed if he's gone through these contract negotiations and not at least said to Paul Hurst, "Look, I'm at the age now I want to nail down a position." So I am of the suspicion that it was a little bit of, round pegs in square holes sort of thing at the start of the season with our injury list. But just going back to the left-hand side, I mean, I've said in the week that I honestly love Anthony Glennon, and I think he's got the potential to be one of the best signings we've made in a long time. His delivery is just fantastic for this level. More often than not, when he gets the ball in, it's in a dangerous area for somebody to attack. So if putting him at left wing is gonna get him in those attacking positions more often than not, then I'd take him over Harry any day. Doesn't say that Harry isn't a hard worker and will do a job and maybe can double up on a winger when you're trying to hold on to a game or you're under a bit of pressure, but still I'd prefer Glennon out there, to be fair.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few options, and I said it already, but I'm quite surprised how quickly I am allowing myself to throw my ethos, because within about 10 minutes of this game I was going, we need to throw Cropper on, just get the ball hoofed up, get it in the mixer, and see what it is. This was the picture that Trail of Death sent me. That's their burger that they've got at Banbury, so it doesn't even do justice to what we used to have in the past. That's incredible stuff.
The old Chesney burger. That
is cremated. That's giving me heartburn just looking at it. And there's a good evening, Gemma. Daniel Lewis as well says, I like the look of Holohan, Green and Morris all playing really well. I think it's all coming together quite well. We'll probably have a really good sort of breakdown of the games that have gone past. But speaking of sort of Rochdale, that first half was the first time I'd been disappointed in a while in terms of how the team had played. It was nice to see. One thing I really love about Hurst is I feel like I've watched the same game he's watched. And one of the things he said in his interview is he said he questioned the character of the team and he sort of called them out on it at half time. I think they certainly responded in the way that they needed them to. If that's the only time out of the last few, even against Leyton Orient, I don't think we were that terrible, even in the second half after the 2 goals. But it was nice to see us respond. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that. I feel like we're going away from what was a mental game of 25 minutes of football where the greatest slide tackle since 1993 occurred, where Anthony Glennon went into the Osmond with so many other Town fans. That was absolutely brilliant. I loved it.
He's still sliding, mate. He's going down Grimsby Road.
He's Grimsby Road. He's at the promenade at the moment. Bren says, thought the football looked pretty good given the weather tonight. Good little training session and the sequel to Tractor Watch, Rake Watch and Roller Watch. I mean, this is it. We should really try and get the groundsman to have a chat with us and tell us exactly how the weather has affected the pitch, how the updates to the pitch have helped, and what things have we done that we probably wouldn't know about other than nicer grass seed, I guess. We'll get on it and we'll see what we do. Now we've got internet at DN35 Towers. We can, start doing some proper work instead of just shirking responsibilities for a while.
Is nicer grass seed a thing, is it?
I guess.
Is that the technical term that they would use, is nicer grass seed?
In certain programs they would. But look, if you want to get involved, it would be great to have you on. I can see why Humberside start screaming for you to join us. So because come on, enjoy. If you want to get involved, please do. Drop us a DM or just say something on the little chat. We can pull you in and invite you onto the chat, and you can join us and tell us what your thoughts are so far. Are you thinking the team is still in for anybody else, Mike? Or do you think do you think this is it and this is pretty settled now? And who do you think we need to add? Anybody who's listening?
Well, I think without stating the bleeding obvious, we probably need a striker. I think that's obvious. I don't go as far as other people saying we don't have any options, because I still think Orsi is a decent option out there. We've said before that he scored the same amount of goals as Chisminga the season before he got his move, so he's an option. But we definitely need another presence up front, somebody that's a bit physical but a bit mobile at the same time. other than that, you're looking pretty solid. I don't know. Without Hurst maybe actively looking, something may come up. He thinks, "Yep, that's going to improve us. Let's go for that." But without looking too hard, you may see maybe a loan signing of a younger player that can play anywhere, sort of wide left, wide right, or in behind, just to give us a little bit more depth in the team. But the back four and the central midfield area, I think, is completely fine. It's just maybe a one or two attacking options, but definitely that focal point sort of striker. That's a must this season. We can do quite well with the team we've got. I think we can't go as far as we possibly could do without that focal point up front. But everybody knows that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether Pebble is the guy that will do that. And he looked pretty decent, I thought, when he came on, a bit more direct, something that we've been sort of missing at Rochdale. Just a guy that's going to go forward. Everybody's loving Glennon. Everybody, absolutely. Dave Barner, Glennon on the wing looked absolutely brilliant. What are your thoughts on Waterbreak? Started out terribly on Saturday against Rochdale, but after the first break, Hurst was able to command players and started to keep us shape. I think it's a really interesting thing. I mean, it's probably not something we'll need in the next couple of days again, but I think those sort of things are really sort of, key to, trying to get most out of the tactical knowledge as you can. So you had things like, did we use all 5 substitutes on Saturday? I don't think we did we? You're muted, mate. Sorry. I muted you because I could hear you drinking.
Sorry, man. Yeah, I think we used 4. If we didn't use 5, we definitely used 4. Was close to it.
I think I was surprised it took so long shocker. We need a klaxon for this, but I thought it was surprising how late Hurst left it for substitutes. I'd have thought, given the heat more than anything, he'd have sort of pre-planned something. Said, look, guys, prepare yourself. You guys are running for 50, 55 minutes or so. Just run yourself into the ground up until then. We'll bring somebody on to relieve you afterwards. And do that. I don't think we saw, and I don't think we probably see enough of that. Barnsley did it a couple of seasons ago to sort of great effect, but I don't see other clubs doing it. And I think Waterbreaks, if they're going to continue, and I don't see why they shouldn't, those sort of quick rundowns and that information you get and that data we're getting, straight up, is pretty useful to get to the players straight away. And you're only going to see more of it as our sort of team gets bigger and sort of coaching team gets sort of more afraid with it. And even if you don't do it then, maybe the head injury thing, which is becoming a bugbear of mine, that gives you an opportunity. Yeah, that gives you an opportunity to sort of bring your team together and have a chat with them. Ollie says Pearson was the 5th sub. Thank you, Ollie. I looked back up, and I said, we've used more than them. The only thing that I think is different with the subs is you're only allowed to bring them on 3 occasions, which is pretty interesting. I think
the other thing about the subs, sorry, Alex, is and we saw this at Leyton Orient, I think, is it's very easy to make substitutions, but when you're sort of on top in the game and you're creating the chances, you look back at the Leyton Orient game and we made those 5 subs and the game just died and went flat. So you've got to sort of balance the fact of, your players might be running on empty a little bit, but they're up to speed in the game. They're creating chances. They sort of know what the flow of the game is. So it's really tough maybe to make a host of changes when you're the dominant side in the last bit of the game. Especially we haven't got overwhelming quality on the bench really to come on. So it's a bit of a fine margin, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting told off because I think me and someone we were discussing whether or not to go to the Woking game tonight, and I think we should have done now because that'd have been a lot of fun. As they're 2-0 down against Scunny. Are
you allowed to be that close to Podge?
Yeah, no, probably not. I still love that Woking. I said it already. The fact that Woking are sponsored by my local greengrocers is absolutely amazing. Brilliant.
Is it Big Baz or somebody? Big Baz's
fruit and veg. They're amazing. They're sort of like bananas in a bowl for £1. They're brilliant. We've got quite a few. Forest coming up. What are your thoughts on that? Are you going to go? Are you going to, And again, anybody who's listening, would great to have you on. If not, we'll sort of probably wrap it up in about 15 minutes or so. But come on, have 5 minutes. Tell us what your thoughts are, what you think is going on. What do you think is going to need to change this season? Where are your predictions now? You've seen us for a couple of games. Where do you think we'll finish? And what do you expect to happen? Who's been the unexpected sort of diamonds in the rough, I guess is the best way of putting it. And it would be good to hear from you, because these sort of off the cuff ones go quite slowly if we don't get joining in.
I tell you who I am impressed with that I didn't think I would be, and that sounds a bit harsh, but you see players like Glennon come in, and I have kittens because I love Glennon, but Morris I've been actually quite impressed with. I mean, didn't know much about him before he came in, and there was a bit of negativity about his past record, but he looks to have slotted in really comfortably in that central midfield role. Maybe took the Leyton Orient game to get up to speed, but I think he's just slotted in fantastically. And that's what surprised me most this season. Our centre midfield looks so good. I mean, if you look back at the Rochdale game, I was so impressed with how high in the second half, how high we were trying to press the ball and win the ball back. And that's sort of driven by those three midfielders. And you look at that then and you think, Ben Fox, who? So I think Paul Hurst has recruited really well in that central midfield, and hopefully that continues. But that's where I'm most impressed with, really.
Yeah, I think the midfield is looking really strong. I'm really liking Kiernan. I'm quite surprised Walsall let him go out on loan, especially to a team in this league. Hopefully it doesn't mean that they can recall him at some point. Daniel Lewis says Morris's range of passing is fantastic. All three are working really well together. Square I'd said I think a top half finish is going to be good from the start of next season, but I said that last season. I'm looking for anything over 14th. I know it's quite a low bar, but that would be the highest we finished since 2006. Which is ridiculous to think. So it'd be nice to get that off the back. But is that going to be enough to keep people interested? Another good, strong crowd today. Looks like the Pony and the Finduses were all sold out. Main stand looked rammed, and the Osmond was rammed as well. So is that something going to be? And also, great following from Carlisle as well. And my heart goes out to those poor souls that are having to trek back up northwest now, because that's not a quick journey on a Tuesday night, is it?
No, you got to feel for them. We've all been there though. But I mean, I've seen a few things on social media with the Tim Pot klaxon out corners. Tim Pot. I mean, after no rain for I don't know however long, having that sort of downpour, I don't think any pitch is going to cope with. So yeah, it's sad for them. But they've had a lovely day out in Cleethorpes. What more could you possibly want on a Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening? So they should be glad of that, and I'm sure they'll be back again.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? You've swung around. Fuck them. They should have, had a good. So, Carlisle saying as a thank you to our superb travelling tonight, Chairman Andrew Jenkins and directors and Johnson will be paying for the bus to bring our supporters to the rearranged fixture, which is great to see. So, expect them to bring a decent following down whenever that game gets rearranged. It'll be brilliant to see. Dave Barnaby says, I think goals are going to be the problem, but look more attacking with Clifton out. I think we could have been 2-0 up if the game went on. We were well on top. That header by Kiernan, my God, you could see he was annoyed because he tried to immediately try and make amends by trying to hook it inside, but that header was totally unmarked, and he was a head in his hands sort of thing, wasn't it?
I must have missed that. I thought it was Waterfall, mate.
Oh yeah, no, Kiernan. Oh no, yeah. If it was Waterfall, everyone would have been 50 quid richer, and it would have been 1-0 up.
Death, taxes, and Waterfall.
Yeah, true. Daniel, well, it was definitely death, taxes, and Waterfall tonight. Daniel Lewis says it doesn't really help the wind coming in from the coast. It literally pushes it across the pitch. I assume he means the rain.
Need to sort that.
Yeah. Why did we put the Findus that side? I wonder how the pitch. You know how they say Trent Bridge is a place that the ball swings quite a lot. I wonder if we'd have had the Findus on the other side. I wonder if that would have affected how Blundell Park acts. You'd have had a nice big wall of corrugated iron stopping the sea breeze. I mean, there'd have been no great view of the ships, granted, but it'd have been warmer, I reckon.
But what would you have done when we're 3-0 down on a Tuesday in December in the Upper Findus? You wouldn't have had anything to do. So
that's true. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. Let's see if I can. No, do you know what? I can't, because a couple of weeks ago we showed a picture of the free kick at Donny when someone fell on his arse. Yeah, EFL copyrighted that quicker than you could imagine. That sort of 35-second clip. So I'm not going to try and find the puddle thing. Actually, no,
Jesus.
fuck it. What are we going to do? Monetize
Do they have
it?
some guy just sat there watching like obscure things on YouTube to see if anybody's using their content?
I really think they do. Let's see if I can find it. I'm pretty sure I put it in here. Yeah, I did. So can I download it? I'll download it in 2 seconds. The problem is I filmed it while Leanne is watching, like, is it a cake or not, or whatever it was, cake or no cake. So
Right, that sounds like something I don't know about, but need to get involved with. Cake or no cake?
No, it'll mess you up. You won't like it because it's things that look like cake that aren't cake, and things that aren't cake that look like cake. Look how big the Mackey's queue is. Can't. Yeah, see, Daniel Lewis he's already thinking about it. If we'd have swapped the Findus around, you could see how big the Mackey queue was if you didn't want to go in it. Brent Brister says you wouldn't be able to watch the trains anymore. They're never blooming running. If Danny Rose was still here with this weather controlling 5G mask, we'd have been fine. Absolutely right, Ollie. This is the things we miss, and these are the sort of thoughts that Fenty and his regime had in his head. But you know,
Holloway knew what he was on about all along.
Yeah, exactly. Jack Bright says, "Good point. Good point for the lads tonight. Decent draw. I think we'll play it again, Jack. Just shake hands. Can you remember? I don't know if you went to. There was a game when I think we played Rushden and Diamond or someone, and we were 2-0 down, and the game got called off pretty sharpish, because of the fog was ridiculous. And I'll tell you something. Justin Edinburgh had kittens. I mean,
I remember that.
Sadly departed. Yeah. Why isn't it named the My Energy Stand? Is it named anything? Does anybody actually know if it's officially sort of named any stand, guys? It'd be great if you could tell us, because I don't even think it's actually technically the Findus stand anymore, is it?
Don't we all just do that thing anyway? Is we call it whatever it was called when we first started going? Like I still call it the Carlsberg stand quite a lot.
So mine it was the Stones Best Bitter stand was what it was when I was a kid. So what was it called when you used to be? So come back in at us. Tell us on the comments, what was it called when you started following town? What do you call the Findus /Young /Carlsberg /Stones Best Bitter stand? Let's have that in. Ben
what should it be called?
Yeah, what should it be called? Talking of Holloway, what's your thoughts on the new Eastleigh owner? Seems a character very funny with his. I haven't seen it. New Eastleigh owner.
Eastleigh. Do you mean
Eastleigh.
Berry? Do you mean Berry?
No, Oldham.
He means Oldham. That's the one. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Is that the guy with the flat cap, bro?
Yeah, because he said he was on BT Sport and he was giving like a serious answer to like the future of Oldham. And then he said, "Oh, have you seen what's happening to United?" And just burst out laughing. Like, not sure if he found it hysterical or was some sort of evil villain.
Simon Hodson is showing his age here. He says it's called the Barrett stand. Simon, surely it's just called whatever was it? Who used to own the land? It used to be Yarborough Field or something, didn't it? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Brett, we got it. Yeah, he's quite an interesting fella, but they are currently losing 2-0 to Oldham. Are currently losing 2-0 to Wealdstone, so that's going to be a bumpy bump back in the ground.
How's Spurley getting on?
I don't know. Don't tell me.
Oh, it's 2-0.
Okay, fine. It was known as John Smith's when I first went, but call it Young, says Square Eyed. Daniel Lewis says it's the Findus Carlsberg. I say lower or upper nowadays. Dave Barnaby said, I'm sure they did groundwork on the lower Findus in the summer, but the standing water on the pitch in front, I just think it's just so dry, Dave. I mean, they can only do so much. Like, there's a really interesting video where it shows you like how much water like can be absorbed into the ground if it's dry or wet. And I think it's just like that. But
you can't put things in place for something like that, and you can't spend hundreds of thousands of pounds just on the off chance once every 10 years it's going to happen.
It was biblical. Is it going to let me put a video up? Let's see if we can find this thing. It's really hard to get this stuff working. They've changed it. There you go. Look at this. Greatest tackle at Blundell Park since the 90s. How can you? I'm going to mute it so you don't have to hear the cake, no cake thing. But look at that. That is a tackle and a half. And he kept going.
What's that thing when Neymar got injured and he kept rolling and like you saw that thing on social media, like he was rolling everywhere? I think we just put Glennon like rolling through space or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Amazing. I mean, it was worth the admission fee alone. And the Carlisle fans, I'm sure, will agree that it was worth the 7.5 hour journey that they're going to have to get to come back. But it's pretty interesting, really. What's this? All right. Oh yeah. So there's apparently news. So Ian's who is it? Ian says the Markloos have apparently done a massive order of fish and chips for Carlisle. They've got about 30 portions. So Carlisle are at least doing Grimsby right. They've gone to Markloos. They've got 30 bags of fish and chips. They are on the peak of physical fitness. I mean, granted, we get Domino's, but you know, you can't. If you come to Grimsby, even the players are desperate for fish and chips. But I wouldn't want to be behind that bus driver ordering it.
I'm starting to think, listening to what they eat, mate, me and you could make a late charge at like being a professional footballer.
Well, if that, yeah, absolutely. Cry for life. If Jamie Clark was a bloody footballer, I could be one.
Was it Adam Proudlock that got done for having cheesy chips on a night out in Cleethorpes?
I don't know. I'd imagine that goes along quite a lot.
There was a big thing about that.
Just the idea, though. You're stuck behind that poor bus driver, 30 fish and chips. And I bet he wanted cod, so there's none in the fryer. So it takes the fryer out of action for the next 25 minutes or so. It's just selfish. That's what it is. But shellfish. Any thoughts? Anyone else? Happy for you to come on if you want to do so. I feel a little bit like shouting into the void, but if you want to come on, you're more than welcome.
I'm listening to you, mate. It's all right.
That's right. There's 45 people listening, so live. So, you know, if they want to come on and have a chat, they're more than welcome. If not, we'll do a proper podcast. We'll even do the draw. I've just got to work out how I'm going to do it properly. Actually, that's a good point. We're discussing it on the pod. So lots of people have put in money for it. So good. It's going to help us with merchandise. We're going to put it towards doing a kickabout for everybody and start doing that as a weekly thing for town fans to do. And we've picked a location and stuff, so that's going. But how would you guys like it to be divvied out? Would you like it to be divvied out as in, so if you put a £5 in, which I think was the minimum amount or something, you get a ticket. So if you put 100 quid in, you get £100 worth of £5 tickets, or, you know, like that. Or do you want it one person per? I'd feel really sorry if somebody did that, but it would be a good idea to get your thoughts on it. Drop us an email. And we want to get some emails in as well now. So if you've got any story, what's your town story? What's your go-to town story that you tell everyone about? Send it into the podcast email address, and we'll read it out on air as well, because we're wanted to hear from you a little bit more, because you've got to be sick to death of hearing from me. You're not going to agree.
No, I was thinking, and me is what I was thinking about, mate.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Let's have a look. I mean, no one does the scores anymore, so let's have a quick look. What are the current? What's the best website for the live scores? Sky, is it?
Yeah.
Let's have a quick look. Football scores on Twitter. Thanks very much, Tar. Brilliant. Lincoln are beating Oxford. Portsmouth are beating Cambridge. Who else have we got? Has any other games been abandoned this week? No, none of them. No, not one other game has been abandoned.
Is this your bid for the new classified results?
I think we should do it. I think
we've got to do the voice. You know, where they go up and down when they do the score, like Carlisle 0.
Let's do this. I'll do League 2. Barrow 2, Walsall 1, Colchester United 0, Bradford City 0, Crawley Town 2, Northampton Town 2, Crewe 1, Sutton 0, Donny 1, Stockport 1, Gillingham 0, Harrogate 1, Hartlepool 0, Tranmere 0, Mansfield 4, AFC Wimbledon 2. That's a bit of a barnstormer.
They're down to 10 men, Wimbledon, I think, aren't they?
Are they? All right.
Yeah.
Newport 2, Salford 3, Stevenage 1, Rochdale 0, Swindon 1, Leyton Orient 1. In the conference, let's have a look. Wrexham are 2-0 down to Chesterfield. Oh, dear.
Ooh.
They did actually, their owner, cheers, Jeff. Thanks, Danny.
He's there again, isn't he? He's there again. There's 5 games.
The James Alexander Gordon voice. Woking are 2-0 up. They're the only one. That's the only one that matters.
Love it.
Hudlin hasn't even made the bench. I mean, they probably can't fit him under the girder to get him in it. Who else have we got in here? What are the big games that are going on? Oldham have pulled 1 back against Wealdstone. Woking still 2-0 up against lowly Scunthorpe United. Gateshead beating Notts County. That's a rough one. And Bromley are beating Torquay. Come on, Torquay. Oh, Aldershot are winning. Go on, Aldershot. There we go. There's your scores. That's how they should be read. Oh man, it was just such a weird one. There's not much really you can talk about today's game because it was so sort of people getting used to the pitch and where the sort of dead spots were. There isn't really much you can say about the performance. We looked pretty tidy. We had probably the best chance of the game. The referee, there was a bit of a cheeky push on Crocombe.
I like to see him get his yellow card out for that, though. That was nice.
Yeah, that was good. It was better than the referee.
Was it Declan Bourne?
I hope not.
Somebody said it was Declan Bourne earlier. Sorry,
who was reffing the game tonight? Ben Bristow says, talking of raining, I once won a Meet the Team as a We Are Sorry For You prize after playing at Grimsby Town in the community after school. It was chucking it then down too. Got a red autograph book for it. I'm glad, Ben. Hopefully they were able to read the problem we have, and one of the reasons why we put the names on the shirt is you can't read, unless it's John McDermott, you have no idea what anybody else's signature is. So I hope you got some decent ones. Once we played Birmingham City and we got the game got called off. And I got there really early because I used to get there like at 12 o'clock as a kid on my own. And the Birmingham paper were there. And I just sort of walked in because the game had been long called off. And because I lived in Kilby, like there's no bus back for another 15 hours. So I was just waiting around the ground. And he said, oh, mate, can you go on the pitch? I'm like 14. Can you just go on the pitch and pretend to be like pushing some water off and got on the sports paper, didn't I? I was famous in Birmingham for a whole day. It's like, can I go on the pitch? Yeah, it'd be fine. I'm looking around a bit cautiously for Dave Moore to yeet me out of the park, as Michael would say. Oh, yeah, Ollie Hodson, absolutely sorry. We never do this official stuff very well, do we? It says, well done to GT Set on the funding. They've been awarded £100,000 from the National Lottery from the Heritage Fund for the for sort of a dementia award and stuff. I know Christine and the rest of the team have been working really hard on it for a while. A lot to do with the Memories program that goes on about using it to help with people with dementia and long-term difficulties with their memory and such, and using football to be sort of that conduit between it. Hopefully I got that right. If not, I'm sure Christine will tell me off for getting it wrong.
I must admit that there's an awful lot of good work they're doing, isn't there? I mean, you look and see online and stuff. I mean, it's just well done to them. The amount of stuff they're doing, it's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely stunning stuff. Absolutely stunning. Has anybody got anything else to add? Mike, have I missed anything? We'll do a proper rundown when we can get everybody together. And crew game, neither of us got to, because being in France, it's quite hard to sort of get back. But I'm going to get a little French flag, I think. I used to have a like an Intermarché French football bag. Right. I was going to put it up somewhere. Maybe I'll get like a Bordeaux shirt hung up in the background for that.
I'm going to look for some of those backgrounds you can get, so it just looks like I'm sat in Paris or something.
Yeah. Well, I could do that downstairs. We've got a massive picture. I'll do that. Because
you know what? I don't think they believe us. I don't think they believe we're in France.
Do you know what? One day I'll do the podcast. We genuinely have friends who live in France and we go all the time, and we haven't been for ages. And when we go out, I will do it from there, and we can at least do it from the pool. But look, if there's anything else you want to add, get it in the comments now. If you want to come on, this is your final one. Reminds me of Mr. Bean's Honda. That's rude. That's rude, Daniel. It's very true. But anybody who wants to come on, this is your last chance, because if not, we'll just think you're all cowards. You know, that's it. That's what you can do with your listenership. You can call them cowards, can't you?
No, you've called them worse.
Yeah, that's true. That's in the WhatsApp group. But look, if you want to come on, have a quick chat. There's nothing to be terrified of. I have stupid opinions all on the time. We're all shy. You're not shy. You just call me Mr. Bean, Daniel. So get on. So
yeah, say it to our face, Daniel. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Who else can we start on? Who else has been on here? Let's have a look. Maybe that's what it is. If we can rile up the people who listen, then they'll be more inclined to come on and call us a twat. There you go.
It's probably what you're meant to do nowadays, isn't it? Just like annoy people when you get.
Just start. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's anything like the kids that my boy listens to on YouTube, that's all they seem to do is just throw abuse at each other, and he thinks it's hilarious.
I mean, we could just keep calling Ollie names, see what that does.
Yeah. Well, I've already called him really old, so I'm sure. I think he's younger than me. But it'll be good to come on and have a chat because it'd be great to hear from you. We'll try and get some people on from other grounds as well. Is there anything we're missing? What else would you like to see us do? Do you want to see a return of Alex's amazing game? In fact, we could do an impromptu one of it. So hang on, let me find it because Braintree tweeted something earlier. Let's find it. Hang on. Please tell me they haven't had a game tonight. Oh, they have. Hang on. Just scrolling. Right, okay. So Braintree tweeted earlier, says 11 years ago today, the pub team from Essex made their mark in our first ever home match in the National League by beating Town 5-0. Yeah, brilliant. So it's going to be Mike against the listeners. I want you to keep going. Daniel, you're quite chatty. Ben, you're getting quite chatty as well. Ollie as well. Right. So I want someone to name a player in the comments. Mike, you go first. Who was in the Town team that day?
This is 2011.
I think so, yeah. 11 years ago. So, yeah, 2011. So come on back in.
Is that the first season we went down, was it?
Second, I believe. So,
cool. Okay.
Get one in. Someone on the comments, get one in. We'll see who runs out first. No cheating. You just ruin it. Go on then, Mike. You first.
Oh, me first. McEwen.
Yes, in. John Lewis went with Connell. He is out. John Lewis, you're out, I'm afraid. He didn't play. Okay. So I need somebody else. Mike, second go. Someone else come in now.
Mark Hudson.
No. Oh, well,
Shit game. Shit game, mate.
That's a shit game. Simon Hodson says Hegarty. Hegarty was not in the team. He was not. Ben Bristow, be serious. He was not in the team.
You lose faith, Ben. You lose trust.
I don't think you're taking it seriously. Daniel Lewis is still in. He says Disley. Disley was in the team that day. Yes, he was.
Pearson.
Pearson was in the team. Mike is back in it. John Lewis. John Lewis, you're already out. Right, we've got a couple more. There's a couple of well-known Town players in here. You should be able to get a few of them.
Aswad Thomas.
Well, he did play, but not for Town.
Oh, you didn't specify that, mate, did you?
No, that's true. I'm pretty sure he was on the Braintree side that time. There's a number 3 Thomas.
I knew that, yeah.
Oh, Scott's here. Scott, we're playing a game.
Right, shall I go?
No, have you dried out?
I'm only just leaving the ground.
Right, can you help report for us that Carlisle United had 30 portions of fish and chips delivered from Martins tonight?
I don't know that information at all.
Oh, well, we're passing it on. Ian Biglin has said that's what he's seen.
I don't know.
They had 30. What did Hursty say? Because no one was listening to you. Everyone was on here. There's thousands of people listening.
That's why they all left the ground.
We didn't get to talk to Paul Hurst due to circumstances beyond our control.
What did you do wrong?
Nothing, we don't know.
Why have you got pyros?
He's not done a Rob Scott behind the ground, has he, or something?
No, it's nothing like that, no.
Scott is about to announce Hurst has left.
Yeah.
Just died there sniffing, saying he didn't know anything about it.
No, Hurst couldn't talk to us. I wanted to chat with him about the weather, but there you go. That's probably why he didn't want to talk.
Scott, I've got a request, mate. You know, next time you're doing comms, there's a slight delay on the TV. Could you try and commentate a bit before it happens so it sort of links in?
Absolutely, yes.
It was about 3 seconds behind, and it was most off-putting.
Yeah, just for you, mate. I'll do that.
Was
Cheers, mate.
it was being reported? Was the Carlisle manager a bit annoyed, or was he all right?
I think he was shaking his head actually to get the water off his hair.
Okay.
I got the wrong signals. No, he was absolutely fine with it being called off. Paul Simpson, the Carlisle manager, actually spoke. He spoke after the game, and he said it was right.
Did he?
He spoke to 3 different media outlets, and he said it was the right decision.
Hang on, let's see.
What's he say? It's all right, you've not pissed me off, Scott. I'll talk to you. Is that what he said?
Yeah, basically, this is what he says. We go for the Sky. Hang on, let's see if we can do this properly.
Was this like the Sky deadline day stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Breaking news.
This is a bloke going to appear with like a purple dildo or something behind Scott now.
Well, good. There we go. We'll do it properly. Breaking news. Hurst has refused to talk to Radio Humberside, causing a massive rift.
Yeah, don't do that. Please.
Bring back Tonda.
Yeah, Tonda's rating of games that got called off is a very low percentage, and then Scott comes waltzing in. Is that your second one?
No, that's the first time. That's the first time that's ever happened.
Oh, is it really? Is there anything different? Like it got cut off quite early from us for the TV and stuff. So what was it like? Do you just have to sort of fill?
Yeah, me and Gary Croft talked about the old days. It was like being in a care home.
Back in my day.
Yeah. We just had to talk about the weather, and because Mike White was hosting the show from Blundell Park with 2 other fixtures, he couldn't stay for the duration, like till 10 o'clock, because he was going to get kicked out. So the whole night of the show was just thrown into disarray.
Do you know, Scott actually sounds like, at Soccer Saturday when you throw to somebody like that's at a game, but it's lower league, so they've got them on the phone. That's what he sounds like.
It's a shame I can't, where this image is of Scott's head, which is just now like the MSN thing. It's a shame I can't put the score. I've got to say though, Scott, you did say Scunny are 1-0 down with too much joy in your voice today.
I completely disagree with that.
I thought he was going to throw in a Pitman. I love it after you said it.
No, I think no. Let's
as a professional reporter, Scott does not agree with that, and he likes to see all. The regions deserve to work well together because that means the region is a success as one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I prefer to be playing them than not playing them. So yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah. Can we talk about Grimsby?
Yeah. Speaking of in the mud, Alan, that Glennon tackle.
Fantastic. There was just everything, like piss, mud, everything just went into the air when he slid in. It was brilliant. It was so good to see. That's what everyone wants.
That's the worst admission for you alone. We were saying it was brilliant. And was the ref Declan Bourne?
Who
was the ref? Who was the ref tonight?
Oh, I can't remember his name, but they were wearing the Dutch kit from the 1988 European Championships.
You're right. I've never seen another referee wearing orange.
Yeah, fascinating, wasn't it? That was another highlight of the night. Just a strange evening all round. There's not many abandoned games I've been to. I remember Derby County about 5 years ago in the Cup.
Rushden and Diamond with
Rushden and Diamond. I was speaking to someone about that because I think Town were losing, and John Fenty tried to get the game back on.
That's very Fenty.
It's a good job there was no goals tonight because then I'm not sure we would have had that situation. But anyway, I've not been to many. How does it work with the ticket prices? Money, do you have to have seen a certain proportion of football before you get your money back?
Well, you like in cricket, you have to see a minimum of 9 overs before you can, and then you lose all your cash.
I don't know how it works, and I'm afraid I didn't ask anyone.
So Carlisle have already said that they're going to pay for the supporters bus to come back down again. But other than that, I think it's down to sort of up to the club, isn't it? I'm sure if anybody's listening, I'm sure they'll be able to tell us. Macclesfield not long ago. I can't remember any of the games.
It wasn't Declan Bourne.
It wasn't. It was Simon Mathers. How dare you, Mike? That's sort of close to defamation. That is. How dare you?
Simon. Sorry, pal.
Yeah, exactly. But it was there was one guy who the camera focused on for a while, who was cleaning out the pitch, who was not putting his back into it. Everybody else was really sort of trying, and this guy was just pushing the handle with the palm of his hand. and they're not really getting any sort of water off.
And did you see somebody brought him a high-vis vest as well?
Did
Because
they
he wasn't
really?
wearing one, and then he was wearing one next time. Yes, so someone said, "Hang on, mate, this is dangerous. You need to put this on."
My dad's the only professional in our family. Says Town has said to keep your ticket, so I imagine it will just be that as well. It'd be good to go because I mean, generally, Scott, the team are doing really well at the moment. What's your thoughts of the last few games?
Well, they played really well in the second half on Saturday at Rochdale. I really enjoyed it. The first half was pretty terrible. Could have been 3 or 4-0 down, but that's well documented. And they continued it tonight. They played. Brendan Kiernan was really good, I thought, tonight, and he probably should have scored. Yeah, they just carried it on tonight. Carlisle had that Jamie Devitt chance, I think. Yeah, but the signs were good, and I think Carlisle were there for the taking. And they haven't lost in the league, so I'm really enjoying this start to the season. I didn't go to the Leyton Orient, so I can't really comment on how they performed that day. It's very, very optimistic, and it's similar to how we started. I think when we got promoted last time under Hurst, it's a good start, solid start. We could beat Forest, I think, depending on who Forest play, it's very encouraging. It was also great to see a really packed Blundell Park on a Tuesday night against Carlisle. Normally that would warrant, I don't know, 4,000, I think, and I don't know what the attendance was tonight because it was never confirmed, but I would say there was about 6,000 there tonight.
It looked great. It looks good on the camera as well. It's a shame that we're only giving that. I mean, it does help with the Osmond. It looks round, but you might as well have just swapped those around. Carlisle looked like they had a half decent following though, given it what it was sort of on a Tuesday night.
Unbelievable following that for Tuesday night, and they're the ones I felt sorry for. Really, that's such a long way on a Tuesday night, and they're going to have to do it all again. I think their chairman has announced that they're going to pay for all their travel for when the fixture is announced again. So that's good of them. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised how many they brought.
What's the? I mean, I don't know how much you sort of get to interact with the team and stuff, but what's the overall feeling? Is the vibe similar to what it was last season? Has that carried on because we've kept quite a bit of the team, or is there a change in? Has there been a change in the atmosphere? Or, I'm not trying to cause any rifts around. Just what's it like, really?
Well, I think the common denominator is Paul Hurst, and with Paul Hurst, you're always going to get a good spirit in the team. I don't think if you're an arsehole, you're soon going to get weeded out, which I think we've probably seen in the past. So as long as Paul Hurst is at the helm, the spirit will always be good, and got so much trust in him as well, like to get the right kind of characters in. I think it's a fantastic dressing room. They're all in good spirits as they're leaving the dressing room. You know, even tonight they played half an hour of football. All right, it's probably because they get an early night and whatever, and they still got all their food as well. The chef came round with all the food, and most of the players had buggered off, and they all get given chicken now. They don't get given dog.
Well,
there's an exclusive for you.
Are they all? They're probably all fucked off into Carlisle's dressing room to have some fish and chips, probably. I'm not having chicken and broccoli. I'm up in there.
Yeah, the Domino's days are over.
Yeah, the Domino's days are over. Oh, it'd have been interesting to see. Can you imagine? I like the idea that. I mean, where do they cook that stuff? They must have to cook it in the upper fingers or something, and then scoot it round.
Yeah, the chef was bringing it round in some some big metal catering equipment
chafing dishes.
But when he came, he realised they'd all buggered off. So I nearly cheekily said, "Is there any for me?" But I thought, no, I don't want to take the piss.
I mean, I'd have just gone in and had some. Ben Bristow says, you're getting a compliment here now. He says, I don't know if anything's changed technically, but the commentary sound quality sounded really good tonight, just so you know.
That's very kind from you. Thank you, Ben.
They had Ollie Hodson, though, says they had Papa John's on Saturday, so it's not that quite healthy. Maybe that it's because they don't have any food there, so they've got to get it going. I just like the idea that Carlisle went. It's just apparently it went to Markley's. The idea that you stood behind that poor coach driver who's ordered 30 bags of fish and chips. So, I'm going to be here for hours.
I'm going to get shot down now, but I don't even know that Chippy. Which
Mark?
Chippy is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you thought the Scunthorpe United stuff was going to get your career ended, I think that's ended it. My God.
I'll be honest, I don't even know which one it is.
It is the third best chip shop in Grimsby and Cleethorpes. I'm going to say controversially as I wait for the comments section to fill up. It
Well,
goes.
the order is Ocean Fish Bar, Steels, North Sea Lane. So.
Oh, Steele's not even at the top. I think that's the most controversial bit.
Ocean is top all day for me.
You've not even mentioned. You've not even mentioned Wybers. What's wrong with you?
Wybers, yeah.
Oh, Scott, mate, seriously.
Right.
Oh. So, right.
Yeah, no, but why would I from Louth? Why would us from Louth go to an estate chippy?
Which is the best chip shop in Louth?
I'm in Sutton. How would I know about it?
In Louth,
the one near the Turk's Head.
I mean, they're all not Mr. Chips. If that's the route you're going to go down.
Is that the one that's next to the Turk's Head?
Yes. So
Okay.
that's Mr. Chips, but that's not the best one. The best one for Louth is Parkinson's. But we're talking, for Louth, I would still rather travel 12 miles and go to Cleethorpes.
Ollie Hodson has started a sort of Gareth Bale style flag here that's put Steele's, Wybers, Marklews in that order. Look, I want everybody's. Let's get them in. Your Champions League rating 1 to 4. Fish and chips. Danny Lewis says it's Ernie Beckett, Steels, and Wybers. Wybers getting a lot of love. Square, I'd say great white just outside the ground. Does great fish cakes in Grimsby and Cleethorpes. I don't know.
Do you know?
Marklews is all right.
I have a confession. When I came back to Grimsby last summer, I didn't go to Steels for the.
I've cut. I can't have Mike saying stuff like that.
I didn't go to Steels. I didn't go to Steels. I was on the way back down the A1. I was like, oh my God, I haven't been Steels in an entire week.
Ben's on your side here, Scott. He says it's Oceans. Yeah, so there you go. I'll have to give him another try then, I guess. But at least no one here is saying Papas, which is very good. So well done to everybody for having some taste buds.
You asked for chippies, didn't you?
Yeah, not tourist attractions.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. I don't know. So, I mean, Scott, anything else that you want to say about the game? Like, how was it? Was it all pretty? You're doing a bit for the Mariners TV as well, which is great to see. They're doing separate. Are they doing separate things from Humberside now? Are they? And did you have to do that twice tonight?
Did he not talk to you twice?
I mean, I was asked if I could do it, and I've already been at work today, so I can't do 3 jobs.
Can you build them?
Yeah,
for 3
so
jobs?
I'm doing bits for the club. So I'm doing alternative interviews for Hursty and a player on match days, and it's just separate from filming the radio interview. It's just seen as a bit less lazy. So I'm doing that for every home game, and I'm really enjoying it. So I've got a foot in both camps really, with the club and reporting on the club, and of course being a fan as well, first and foremost. So my mum did say to me the other day, bloody hell, 14-year-old Scott, if you could see 40-year-old Scott now, like just casually just chatting to players and managers as if they're just normal people, which of course they are. But when I was 14, they were just seen as like my heroes, and it's just a bit weird now because the players certainly they're all just 19, 20, 21-year-olds. They're just kids as far as I'm concerned, and it's weird how that's changed. So. I mean, 14, 15-year-old me talking to Groves, I was a gibbering wreck. I couldn't do it. But I'm talking to Paul Groves, I think, this Saturday, because they're trying to have a legend before every game. And, we've spoken to Groves on here. And,
he's very professional.
Very professional. And, so I'm looking forward to chatting to him. I chatted to John McDermott before the Northampton game.
Macca's brilliant.
He's great, and he's got so many stories, and he's also telling me stuff off camera as well about his time at Boston and applying for other jobs and stuff like that. I'm not going to repeat them on air because it's confidential.
He'll probably do it. Don't worry.
Yeah, just get him in again, and he'll tell you. So yeah, it's a real fascinating insight, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and it's very, very nice to be asked.
Where's are the players being pushed to do more stuff? Because I'll be honest, it come to a time where I wouldn't even know what the voices of the players sounded like unless they were shouting at corners. Like, are they being told to, or do you just think they're more naturally quite happy? Go, I'll have a chat if you want me to at any point and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't think of many shy players actually. I think most of them they're all really approachable players, and they're all happy. Obviously, there's always better talkers than others. You're always naturally going to get that. But I think genuinely, yeah, they're all pretty media savvy. I don't know if particularly like you think like Andy Smith, if he's come from Hull City, I would say a club like that they'll be media trained from quite a young age, I would say. And so if they're at bigger clubs in the youth setup, I think that's how it works. Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. This is just me trying to like massage the ego of the town. But do the players say anything? I mean, like even Pearson go like saying like, look, 6,000 season tickets sold and stuff like that. See you later, Mike.
See you guys.
See ya.
See you later.
Are they saying anything about that? Are they surprised? Like Andy Smith, like talking about the club or anything like? Is there positive stuff coming out of it at the moment, or is it not really something you hear about?
I'll be honest, Alex. I've not really.
That's all right.
Spoken generally, like I think that would be a chat you'd have in the summer, just a general chat with the club.
We've got no other content. What do you think of the season ticket sales?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it'd be a bit weird if I asked them after a game, like about general game stuff, and then what about these season tickets, eh?
Yeah, I get. Yeah, all right.
I really want to find out more about players. Like, what's your ideal Sunday and stuff like this.
You're going full Tim Messenger, sort of. What's your ideal Sunday?
I would love to ask Hurst that after the game. I want to find out more about him. I don't know anything about him.
No, I'd love to. We need to get him on it because I want to know. I don't think there is a better manager in lower league for picking players. And I want to know, where does he start? Is it just the people he knows? Does he have a good network? Or I know they work so hard. Does he just have an encyclopedic knowledge of players, where they are, what they're doing? Sort of, I just love to know how they go about doing it. Because all the time it just seems a bit.
I think he's just a workaholic, and he's just constantly at it all the time. And he's probably a bit of a football nerd as well. I just think him or Chris Doigall, both of them, would just be watching games constantly, and I imagine they watch games at home and just text each other and stuff like that about players. I just think he just knows. If he was to name a player in all 4 divisions, all 5, maybe 6 divisions, he would know who they are. I think he's just got a great knowledge of the game and how it's played, which is frustrating really, because they're still struggling for numbers. I was very surprised tonight to see Ryan Taylor start, for example. They're still looking for players up front. I don't think he's quite got that trust in Peppel to start tonight, because he came on Saturday at Rochdale and he looked a little bit like a rabbit in headlights when he broke into the box. Ultimately he won the corner, which got the winner from Luke Waterfall on Saturday. But
should that have been a penalty?
No, not in the slightest.
Okay.
I didn't know. Oh right. Yeah.
Just me. That was just me.
He broke into the box and he just kind of bundled his way through, and you never seemed totally convinced that he was going to go on and score and slam it home, but. Ultimately, I know he won the corner, so it worked out all right in the end. But
he's a bit direct, at least, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But I still feel that it was a risk playing Ryan Taylor tonight, considering he played 90 minutes on Saturday. All right, Sean Pearson came on from right at the end, but still, he played all the game in that heat and with that skin.
Yeah, so I was very surprised that Taylor started, but I don't think Hurst has got that enough trust in Peppel. I was surprised that Peppel signed, actually, because Hurst does his due diligence on all players, And I just get the feeling that Peppel came in a little bit out of convenience through the McAtee deal.
Yeah, he's an option.
Yeah, and he'd never seen him play, kind of thing.
That's surprising, then, isn't it?
Yeah, because then you're veering into Ian Holloway territory a little bit, aren't you?
But do you think he kind of takes those points? I always think like people like Manny and Abrahams were the same. Really, he knew what he was going to kind of get with them, but he knew they weren't. Look, these are ones that I just have to have someone up front. Like,
he always says he doesn't do that. He says he won't get in bodies just for the sake of it. But then you see someone like Peppel come in, you think, well,
Straker.
Yeah. You think, well, it does seem like they are. I mean, what's wrong with Edwin Essel? The young striker. He played a few times last season, towards the start, and he's kind of just dropped off the scene a bit. He played in pre-season, but he's nowhere near the first team. Louis Boyd's the one that I he was the youngest ever goal scorer.
And he's gone.
Years ago. He's still at the club.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I mean,
who was the other one?
He must be about 16 now.
But who was the other one then? That's just gone. Who just got released?
Oh, well, Ben Grist went, didn't he? But he was sold.
But he was sold. There was another one as well with Boyd then. That was quite a young player and then was just let go. I'm sure someone might come back in a minute and tell us who it was.
Yeah,
but,
I can't remember. But it's clear that then these players are nowhere near the first team.
No.
Whereas a couple of years they were.
Yeah, apparently. But I mean, it's surprising then if they're struggling, because you can't imagine that the owners aren't backing the players. I imagine the budget is competitive. And I mean, for Christ's sake, if Inverness can get played, Adlard, that's it, Ollie. Thank you. Lewis Adlard,
that's right.
who was sort of around the team at the time as well. Like, it's surprising that they're not looking. They've not got the right guy. I don't know what the reasons would be, because we struggled for strikers last year, and it's not. Hurst is never usually one that actually struggles to get strikers. You think of the players that have been brought in under him, Podge, Hammond, and alike. Hearn, was he under Scott and Hurst? Maybe not. But he's brought in consistent players who have scored and he can bring in.
He's also brought strikers who can't score.
That's true.
I mean, that would be a great game to play. Sean Chewton, there's one for you. A non-scoring striker that Hurst brought in when we was in League Two as well, 2016. I remember him playing at Notts County, and he wasn't great.
Who else did he bring in that season? Because he brought in Caden Jackson that season.
Caden Jackson was decent. Yeah.
When did we get 2016, 2017, wasn't it? Which was our John Fenty. Go Soccer Base. You got to update that.
I noticed that the other day when I was doing my prep for this game.
It's just come back with Jordan Maguire-Drew. I'm quite surprised Jordan Maguire-Drew isn't starting.
Do you know how many minutes he's played this season?
At most 40.
26.
Really?
Yeah, that's all. And he's scored one goal, obviously the late goal against Northampton. And then he's just had fleeting substitute appearances. And I don't know what's gone on there, really. For someone who was he got the winner in the playoff final. And he had a decent end to the season, I thought. And now he's just completely dropped off.
Because this team could be built around like those. There's enough attacking intent there with Maguire-Drew and Kiernan and McAtee when he comes back, and even Clifton played a half decent role for a while behind the sort of the like he did at Woking and the like. There's enough there to suggest that we could have a bit of a direct approach. Like if you just get a body up front, and I mean, there's got to be a huddling around that you can steal, just to use if he's struggling. I don't know.
Yeah. Podge Hammond.
Yeah, I mean, we always come back to him. Who was the other one that I like? Effiong, who's I think he's an older shot now, so maybe not. But he did.
Carlisle's front two, they're decent. I mean, Christian Dennis. He's got 4 in 4 because tonight doesn't count. And I remember him when Jolly signed him. He was pretty terrible, actually.
Yeah, you had him. You had Wes Thomas.
Yeah.
There was some. So here are some of the players from 2016, 2017.
Eric
Akwasi
Caldwell.
Asante, Ashley Chambers, Callum Dyson.
Everton loanee.
Yeah, Sean Tooten, Scott Vernon, Adi Yusuf, but I think he was signed after him. But there's quite a few where they're just sort of brought in because we need a body up front. Connor Jennings as well scored 1 goal in 9 in 2013. Who else is that? Alex Rodman was all right. Dale Southwell doesn't count. Umari Tunkara.
Yes, Steve Nidge. Yeah, I remember it. I mean, Danny Carlton, Ben Tomlinson, if we were going to go further back. I think they might be Neil Wood signings, actually.
Jack McCreth.
Yeah. There's so many. No, Jack who was the guy? Ex-Bristol City. I can't remember.
Hamish Watson. No, that's not fair.
Hamish Watson, he's the Kiwi. Yeah, I quite like the look of him. I like the story about him as well. He basically came over here and didn't have a club, and just it sounded like he just came with a backpack and just trialed at different clubs.
I mean, we could do with that at the moment.
What? Just what? A backpacker?
Yeah, just to come in. I'll have a crack.
Someone who's on a holiday visa. Well, yeah, you'll do.
Yeah, Ben Tomlinson.
That's the one.
Marcus Marshall. Marcus Marshall, though, I really liked him. Patrick Hoban didn't actually score a goal for us.
No, but he'll be remembered for having the shot that was blocked in the playoff final.
James Allaby, Alex Jones.
Oh my God.
There's some. I mean, there are, but I mean, compared to others, he still had he's no Michael Jeffries. It used to be terrible.
I mean, that was so harsh, wasn't it, on Darrell Clare? Because people used to say it was Bungle and Jeffrey up front.
Yeah,
and that's so harsh on Darrell Clare because he wasn't rubbish at all. But
so I got that wrong because I used to think Michael Jeffrey was the one that was called Bungle. But yeah, now that makes more sense.
That's the joke.
That makes more sense. Yeah, but you think the players we used to have, like Johnny Rowan, who did all right in the considering he was in the championship and he had one leg shorter than the other.
I remember playing against him. He played for Tetney.
Did he really?
Yeah, and I was playing for Leeds United, under 14s or whatever. And he was the star striker. And then he went on to score against Wolves.
Guys, I'm really sorry. I haven't been seeing any of your messages because I've been looking at players. I've only got one screen up here. Danny Lewis says Adamino, Monkhouse. Monkhouse doesn't count. He was just a person to head the ball on. Orsi and Khan. Do you know when Orsi's back? Because they seem to be both quite quiet, aren't they? Just they're injured.
Yeah, they're just injured, and that's it. I don't know anything about them. They are in the stands. They've watched the game. Certainly, Orsi does. I'm not. I think they actually look quite similar. They've both got long, flowing hair.
Okay.
So I think it's the same. Yeah, they're in the main stand watching the games. Scanner was there tonight. Bless him, still watching the game.
Good on him.
I mean, he's out till Christmas or whatever, and he's not limping. He's not walking with any aid or anything. So
that's even worse, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
you almost feel like you want to push it, and you're going, "Well, I'm fine," and then it tears again or whatever. Should we get to Stuart Pearce side of things now? And we have we just stick Waterfall up front. If we stick Waterfall up front as a target man, and then have 4 or 5 players playing off him from midfield, would that work? They just have Pearson and Smith at the back with Mayer.
I mean, I see where you're going with that, but no, I don't think that's a Paul Hurst way of doing things.
Glennon balls into the box with Waterfall there. We'll be 4-0 up, won't we?
I mean, they do look. He's taking the corners, Glennon, and they do look dangerous. They certainly have. He has a chat with Waterfall about where he's going to put it, and they do look like they're going to work to good effect, as we've seen. Yeah, I like Glennon. Glennon was good tonight. He gets better every time I see him.
He does. And Scott, you've got to sort of pull me back because I'm throwing all my principles out there because Efete's brilliant, but I just get Cropper on. Like today, that wasn't an Efete. Just get the bloke in who can lob the ball into the box and see if it goes off somebody's arse. and
It's
use him to
interesting,
get the
it's-
ball out of the pitch.
It's interesting. A former Grimsby Town right back who I've already mentioned, who I spoke to 2 weeks ago. No, at Northampton game, said about Cropper. He said if Cropper didn't have the long throw, he's
He'd be nowhere
absolute,
near it.
absolute bang average.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. I guess you just go, well, it's one of these things. Isn't it? Maybe we should just get him to teach people. We've got so many sort of, we've got this
That's
partnership.
I didn't say that, by the way, just in case anyone from the club's listening. I didn't say that. That's what a former Town right back said.
It's interesting though, is it? Because I didn't see him massively as a like a weak link when we were playing in the playoff games and and when Efete was injured. He doesn't have the same attacking prowess that Efete does, but I think as well, Efete can sometimes get lost. There was a point against Rochdale where he gave the ball away quite high up the pitch, and he was having to desperately track back. And this is harsh on the bloke, but saying he did the same at Southend when we conceded the penalty there. He was the one that lost the ball in the corner and then tried to redeem himself and gave away the pen. But I think that's going to happen if you got an attacking fullback. That's the sort of the price you pay. But maybe we should just send Cropper down to Loughborough. We've got a partnership with them. Just get him throwing things and learn how he does it, and then we just pass that information on to anybody else.
It is extraordinary how he throws it, and it is crazy. I am the absolute opposite when I played football. I'm terrible at throwing. Throwing the ball over arm like that, I cannot do. I've got no power. And I don't know how he does it really.
Well, you have the same with us. It's like Pinnock. I don't even know. Can't even remember who Pinnock plays for now. Northampton, isn't it? Yeah. He's apparently a long throw specialist as well. You can see how Northampton were setting up when he scored. His balls were nothing like it. They were just looping things that went up into the air that try and get on the end of. It wasn't the same sort of thing. Cropper throws it in like Delap did, like slings it in. I just don't know. I've totally given up my principles of Buckley free-flowing football for a bloke who can just get it in the mixer, and I'm quite surprised how quickly I've given them up.
Well, they tried to get the free-flowing football tonight, but it just wasn't going to happen on that pitch, I'm afraid. And
it felt very Cambridge.
We could see that quite in the first couple of minutes. We could see it was going to be an interesting night, they should have called it off when he first said, bring on the brushes, which. I mean, I don't know how that was going to work because it was still raining.
It was hammering it down, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was only ever going to be one winner, and that's the weather. And
I bet it's fine now.
An interesting night, Alex.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Thanks for joining us. We've got an hour out of it, which is pretty impressive.
I mean, that's extraordinary for a game that didn't happen.
I mean, we made a podcast on it in the season we got relegated, so it's. Thanks, mate.
I'll be there. I'm there for the Sutton game Saturday, and and Forest next Tuesday. So
stunning stuff! Look at you getting a ticket.
Well, I mean, again, this was a nice perk of doing the Mariners TV thing. So I certainly don't take it for granted, Alex.
Good. I'm glad to hear it, man. Thank you very much for joining us. Go have a break. See you later.
Yeah, I've got to drive home now. See you.
Bye. Well, there we go, everyone. Scott's done. I think we need to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll do a proper podcast and we'll break down the Rochdale game and we'll break down everything else. And if you want to get involved, then feel free to drop us a DM because it'd be great to have more people involved in this and getting your thoughts in there. And we'll see where we go with that. We will be back soon. Don't you worry about it. We'll be back on Sunday at the very least. If not, we'll try and get a preview done as well. But until then, we'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.